Good morning. It is finally the 26th and it's the WornOut Racing Rollers event today. I've been looking forward to this for absolutely ages. It does make a nice change to have my car not dragging on the floor from the amount of spares I normally take when I go to track days. I've just got some cooking stuff and the food and everything. Going to be meeting a few of the boys at a Starbucks on the way so we can convoy down there. Was looking very touch and go with the whole fuel problems yesterday, like everyone not being able to get fuel because everyone's panic buying it. We had some people that had actually no fuel in their cars. They were even struggling just to drive around and try and find any. But that looks like it's been sorted. Hopefully everyone's managed to get it and hopefully that luck continues. So we're going to get going, get down there, get the bacon sandwiches on the go, load the first car onto the rollers, and fingers crossed, everyone kind of gets the kind of figures they're looking for. We don't get any problems and everyone has a good day from it. The weather looks like it's going to be decent. So yeah, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. So I'm going to fire the old boy up and get going. Well, I'm a minute away, and surprise, surprise, the Cinquecento is last. I mean, admittedly, that didn't help because I actually missed a turn in, but it also doesn't help when you go in a convoy with a Supra and a Type R and an MPS. But either way, I'm going to get in there, and I'm going to serve these boys up their well-deserved bacon rolls. Magic is about to happen. Right, we've got a wicked turnout today. So this is Dave's Yaris T Sport. He hasn't long got this. He actually originally, he's got an Evo 5. He actually originally bought this as like a kind of, I don't know, like a beta track car, and then ended up finding literally the cleanest Yaris T Sport I've ever seen in my life. Like the interior looks like no one's ever sat in it, but now he's like questioning whether he actually wants to take it on a track or not because it's too good. But we'll see. I'm sure it'll end up on there at some point, but I'm really interested to see what this makes. And this is Gr Supra, which obviously goes without any real introduction. It's absolutely bone stock. I mean, that's going to be lovely. Like I said, apparently Iain changes his cars like he changes his underwear, so I don't know how long he's going to have that for. And we've got Matt's FRV rocking the rotors, by the way, or rotor reps. So apparently he's done a few things to this. He's got some suspension stuff done, some camber arms and things. He's got some more plans for it. Apparently the parts haven't turned up yet, so he's had to hold off on that. But he's getting that on the rollers as well. And then you've got Ben's MPS, which has actually got a few little bits on it. Now this only just about got through the sound checks at the Castle Coombe the other days. This wasn't going to probably be the loudest car of the day. And then Nick in his Mini, but it's not the turbo one. And then we got this bad boy as well. You're probably going to hear me gushing about this car a little bit today because I've got a lot of time for Nick's Mini. Cannot wait to see this on rollers today, and I've actually been lucky enough to see this on a couple of track days that I've been to, and I can testify to how quick this thing is when it's going around a track, so I can't wait to hear it on a rolling road like 6 feet from my face. And over here we've actually got Chris, who owns the rolling road. This is actually his kit car he's not long picked up. Lovely little bit of kit, and definitely going to be wicked when he's finished it. Now actually Chris is going to be putting a turbo on this soon, so I think at the moment it's just on, I think it's on individual throttle bodies, but he's definitely working the turbo. He's just sorting out the cage and stuff at the moment, but I don't think he's dynoing this today, but still wicked seeing it. And then Chris's ignis. Now I would say Chris absolutely busted a gut to get this done for the show as well. He had to do the clutch on it, and he put a load of other stuff on. He sorted out some chassis mods and that he wanted to do, and then spent 2 days buffing it. So I'm going to throw it out there, probably one of the coolest ignis sports kicking about at the moment, just purely because no one really ever bothers modifying them. And I really look forward to seeing. He wants to see what it sounds like with the new exhaust and stuff on it as well. But anyway, let's get Jamil's Type R onto the rollers and get this event kick-started. Now, Iain and Jamil, so Iain's bought his Supra today, actually jointly own this as a track car, properly clean, real nice spec. They did have a little bit of an off in it the other day, so it's got a little bit of a dent on one side. Let's not talk about that. But I said I think these put out about 201, some 200 horsepower. They're really hoping for anything close to that with a few mods they've got on it. So let's see how we get on.
happy to report they actually put out a very solid 198 horsepower, which they were really happy with. No loss of power there at all, so yeah, really good. Now up next is Ben in his MPS. Now he doesn't really have any real sort of aspirations for how much power this put out. It has got a little bit of a remap on it and an exhaust. But he was basically just wanting to see whether it was running healthily. So yeah, we'll see how he gets on.
Has just come off. It's made 260, and I've got to be honest, sounding absolutely wicked. He said the map's a little bit off, so it does tail off pretty bad towards the end, but otherwise definitely the best sounding car of the day. This is going on a minute, but we've got the Supra on at the minute. Hi Chris.
Right, now I'm going to tell you now, this didn't go to plan. We couldn't get the car into dyno mode. It was just not playing ball, but I've decided to put a few shots in it anyway because it sounds wicked when it kept coming up onto boost. But it just kept changing gear and just having none of it. But either way, I thought I'd leave it in here anyway because it's just such a cool car. Dave's T-Sport. Now these are meant to make 105 horsepower, bone stock apart from a K&N filter in it. So again, just here to see what it does and see how well the car's doing at the moment.
So this, it's got a bit of a rivalry with the Yaris. So we made 106. This is supposed to make 107. Who's going to win, Chris?
This is clearly going to win.
The Yaris is going to make, the Ignis is going to make 108. 108 horsepower. Going down, Dave. That's a win then. It's been a wicked day so far. So we just had the MPS has just gone and Jamil in his Civic Type R has just gone, but it looks like there's a bit of traffic on the way on and stuff, so they wanted to try and get out of here as quick as they could. But We've got the what have we got going on next? Oh, the FRV's going on next. But no, it's been a great day so far. It's a bit of a shame about the Supra. We couldn't get the traction control and the gear change to sort itself out, so we kept trying to change gears. We couldn't get into dyno mode or anything. So it's a bit of a shame. We only made 175 before we had to sort of pack it up. But other than that, we've got the little competition between the Yaris and the Ignis. Ignis absolutely kicked the Yaris in the ass, unfortunately, or at least fortunate for Chris. So they made 120 rather than the 107 it is supposed to make. Other than that, though, it's been nice and clean. Everyone's had a good map. No one's had any bad runs or any problems or anything like that. So we've got the FRV and then the Turbo Mini, so Nick's Turbo Mini. The Mini's been built for drag racing. Like, if you ever see it in the flesh, it is unreal. Like, it's not really built for like track days and that sort of stuff. He does do it in it, but he's hoping today he's going to try it on the 20 psi normal setting, and then he's going to try and push it up to 25 and see how it handles it. He absolutely hauled to get it fixed because he did a service on it the other day. When he took the sump plug out, he had part of one of his bearings on there from his gearbox, but apparently it's just like an additional bounce and braces bearing. It's not actually needed. But he pulled the engine out, fixed the gearbox, got it all back together and turned up. So wicked effort on his part. Otherwise, we're going to go back, do his last couple. My voice is starting to go a little bit. I've got no idea why. Yeah, really enjoying it. Bacon sandwich went down well, drinks have gone down well. Definitely going to look to do something like this again, I think.
Here's Matt's FRV again. He's hoping probably for around 170 horsepower in this. It's got a few mods on it in the remap. So we'll just see how we get on with it. It's always interesting to see diesels on the rolling road at these events. Here we go, look, 158 horsepower. Now, I'll be honest, he was a little bit disappointed with this. I don't think he's 100% happy with the map, so he may well look to get that sorted at some point. But I have to say, for a diesel, it ran real clean and it actually sounded really decent. So, I mean, I'd be happy with that. It was definitely a good effort. And then just for a laugh, this is the only car that Nick had that actually had any fuel in it. So he's decided to chuck it on the rollers anyway to see what kind of power it makes. Bone stock, apart from the, I think maybe a different air filter and the cherry bomb exhaust. So let's just see what the old boy does. Roll, please. There you go. It hasn't got a turbo. It made 126 horsepower. Done.
There we go. So this is Nick's Turbo Mini. Very much built for drag racing, but it's unbelievable. I mean, you can't really get it on video anyway, but the more you look at it, the more little things you find. Like, he's got the clutch pedal there, and the arm, has been drilled. It's just so good. You can always tell a car when it's been properly built. I mean, obviously this is a Clubman as well. It's got a proper size intercooler, proper size radiator on it. When you have the round nose one, the radiator goes on this side. It's a nightmare. But even everything, it's got all like the extra braces on the roll cage, the windows, and the interior is just unbelievable as well. Look at that. And as I might have said on somewhere else in the video, like, he had a massive problem with this with the gearbox. Well, not a massive problem. One of the bearings had let go in the gearbox. So then, literally about a week ago, I think, pulled the engine, pulled the gearbox, sorted the bearing out, put it all back in, and then drove it down here. Like, he literally drives this on the road. I mean, admittedly, he has to wear earmuffs, I think, like ear defenders, because it's so loud with the straight cut gears. But I'm probably going to go as far as to say definitely one of the nicest minis I know of, or / have seen. It's nuts. Now, unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be around to see this on the rollers because he's got to do a load of setup stuff and that as well. But I'm going to try and get someone to take a video of it and then ping it to me and I'll add that onto the video as well because it's definitely worth hearing. I mean, just look at it. It's ridiculous. Right, now before we get into Nick's Turbo Mini, we've got a little bit of consumer testing to do here. So obviously there's a lot of talk about E10 fuel, actually there's a lot of talk about petrol in general at the moment, since no one can actually get it. But when we all can get fuel again, there's been a lot of talk about E10 fuel, whether it's going to give you problems with your car, like whether it's going to destroy your rubber hose and stuff. I'm not here to try and disprove that, but what I am trying to figure out is I've heard things about it making less power or using more fuel up, or generally maybe your older cars won't run as well on it. So I thought, well, I'm there anyway, and Chris made a suggestion. He said if we get time, we can chuck the slug back on the rollers because it was so consistent last time. We did 3 runs. I think I got about a half a horsepower difference between each 3 runs. So it's bang on. The only thing that's changed is I've done another track day and I replaced the fuel pump because the old one was whining like mad. So we bolted it down. It's got a full tank of E10 in it. It had a tiny little bit of fuel in there because I ran it right down so I could replace the fuel tank, the fuel pump. So it's got about as much E10 in it as you could probably generally go for. And obviously it's 27 years old. It's a proper old car. There's no fancy wizardry. I've not mapped or tweaked or done anything to it. So we're going to chuck it on and then we're going to see what kind of power it makes. And hopefully you find it useful and it might make you feel a little bit better or worse about E10 fuel, depending on how it goes.
There we go, look. So the blue line is from before, the red line is from the E10. Horsepower, pretty much bang on. I did pick up a little bit of torque. It's a little bit of a less humid day, but it was a little bit hotter as well. So I'd say it's a pretty accurate test, fairly similar conditions. But just have a little look at the graph now. And one of the things we did notice, and I don't know whether it's the fuel pump, whether it's the fuel, but if you see this little dip here in the blue, it seems to have leveled out quite nicely with the E10. And then you can see there the torque line's just a tiny bit above the whole way through pretty much. So, I mean, this car hasn't got a lot of horsepower anyway. So, I mean, I'd love to see what it looked like on a turbo car that maybe took a little bit more advantage of the ethanol. But otherwise, yep, I'll absolutely take that. But let's be honest, the thing you've been waiting for the end of the video to see is Nick's Turbo Mini performing. He did have a little bit of problem with surging on the day, and you'll notice that it's jacked up at the back. It's so low, it was catching on the rollers. But just sit back and enjoy the noise.
So what did it make? Now, I can actually tell you this now because Nick's actually posted it on his Instagram page and he does want to do a little bit of work going through the logs and just checking everything over before he's 100% confident just because it made so much power. But it made 299 point, I think, 8. So for as, near as it makes any difference, 300 horsepower. Now, bearing in mind, this is, for anybody who's into minis, anyone will know what I mean by this, but it's a 5-port head still. So it's still only got 3 exhaust ports and 2 inlets. So, I mean, if that's right, I mean, based on the rest of the day, everyone else's cars were pretty much bang on what you'd expect. So it's not like that dyno's being generous, but again, he wants to check it. But if that's right, I think that puts it as being the most powerful non-nitrous injected classic 5-port head mini in the country. Like, I think by an amount. Like, I mean, we always knew it was rapid, but that's ridiculous. So I think he was absolutely buzzing. Again, a bit of a shame I missed it, but I needed to get cracking. The traffic had cleared up. It'd been a long day, so I said to him, we didn't know how long he was going to need for it. Otherwise, though, just wicked day, absolutely wicked day. All the effort was worth it. Like getting all the food sorted and the drinks and everything, the people I invited and the people that accepted, the cars that turned up, the weather was perfect. Like it couldn't have gone better. And can I just say another massive shout out to Chris from HAD. If you ever need any kind of mapping done, as long as it's aftermarket ECU, so you can't do standard ECUs yet because all the licensing is really expensive for that kind of stuff.
If you ever need any of that, power runs, or you need a map tweaked on a standalone ECU, go see my man down at HAD. He's so good. You know, he gave Iain, obviously, because he couldn't do a full run. He didn't charge him for that because, or all of that, because, you know, he said he couldn't do it and it wasn't Ian's fault. So that's awesome as well. He's always really accommodating. He keeps everything nice and safe. You know, he doesn't mess about with the cars. He doesn't rush anything. So definitely get down there. It's definitely worth it. And will I do another one? Absolutely. I am bang up for doing more events. I actually really, really enjoyed it, organising it more than I thought. It's a little bit of stress, you know, when people have to drop out and stuff. And it's not their fault. And I'm the same. Like, I'm a bit non-committal when people say, "Do you want to do something?" I'll go, "Oh yeah, that sounds great." And then you say, "Can I have the money?" And I'm a bit like, "Can I pay you nearer the time just in case I change my mind?" But you know, whatever. So keep an eye out for more events coming up. Probably do maybe some kind of meet and greet kind of coffee morning type vibe next time, especially because the weather's going a bit rubbish. Just so people can just turn up. There's no pressure or worry about your car on the rolling road. You can just stand around and talk to people about cars. You know, it's going to cost less money. Anyone can turn up to it, that kind of thing. But keep that in the works for that. Keep an eye out because I know I keep saying about new t-shirts coming out, but I've been working with somebody who's one of my subscribers actually about getting a new t-shirt design, and it is looking sweet at the moment. It's completely different to any of this stuff, so none of the logo stuff, like it's actual like graphics, image and stuff. So hopefully that'll be done soon, and I'll get that up on the site. Other than that, subscriber-wise, I said I've hit 204, I think now. I've had an extra couple of subscribers on, so we'll be doing like a mini special for that because, you know, it's a big deal for me. I like getting to these big round numbers. So I'll be doing that as well. So look out for that coming up. And I spoke to Chris yesterday about getting the turbo down again. So we're going to get down there on one Saturday as well to wind that up. And I was talking to the other Chris with the Ignis because he's had a few turbo Cinquecentos in the past, and he's letting me on a little bit of knowledge, which is good. So I'll be using that to my advantage as well. And all in all, what an awesome day. And I'm absolutely enjoying all of this stuff at the minute. So yeah, until the next time, keep liking the videos, keep watching what I'm up to, keep letting me know what you're enjoying, stay safe, and keep messing with those cars.